So let's be real. Homemaking is harder than we thought it'd be. Are you stuck feeling overwhelmed or paralyzed by perfectionism? There's a way out. Let's talk. You've found the Simply Convivial podcast. Short but meaty episodes to help you banish overwhelm and perfectionism so you can manage family life cheerfully and competently. What is convivial? Convivial means doing life together with joy. It's the home atmosphere that we want as moms, but it's not our default setting. As moms, we are the atmosphere of our homes, so we can choose joy and become the convivial tone in our home. I'm Misty Winkler, homemaker and homeschooling mom, and author of the upcoming book, Simplified Organization. I'm here to help you organize your attitude and dig into the good works that God has given you in your home. I'm glad you've joined me. Today, I want to share with you a part of my intro from my latest book, Simplified Organization: Learn to Love What Must Be Done. It will release on November 21st, but if you go to simplifiedorganization.com before the release date, you can get on the wait list, and then I'll send you the first chapter of the book for free. Plus, you'll have a chance to get bonuses for launch week. So, grab a basket of laundry to fold, and let's dig in. I am living the life I always wanted. I grew up the oldest of 7, homeschooled, reading Anne of Green Gables and heaps of sappy Christian romance novels. I grew up with my mom in the home, even though it meant some extremely lean times. I saw and understood that my parents believed raising children was more important than growing bank accounts. My siblings and I were more desirable than money. It was obvious to me as a child that having my mom at home was better than driving a nice car or eating out at restaurants. In my simplistic, childish worldview, it seemed like a dichotomy. You choose mom at home or you choose stuff. I was glad that my parents chose kids at home, and I preferred to be home with my mom and siblings, even when it meant powdered milk. As a child, it seemed clear to me that home and children was the best way to spend time and resources. When I grew up, I knew I would make the same choices myself. Who would rather work a job than make and grow people? Who would prefer a paycheck over being in charge of a household? I never planned on doing anything else. I married at 19 and after finishing college, moved back to our hometown, and getting health insurance through my husband's first full-time job, we happily began our family. I knew how to cook. I knew how to load the dishwasher. I could do laundry. Homemaking was going to be a piece of cake, right? There isn't much to it, really, and you get the perks of being in charge. Expecting homemaking to be comprised mostly of menial tasks, I put my energy not into doing those menial tasks with skill, but in figuring out the best way to set up systems that would minimize the amount of time that I spent on them instead. Even after a childhood with a stay-at-home mom, many household chores, and practice cooking, I still disdained housework. Even with my conservative family priorities, I thought managing a household would require minimum effort. Modern society conditions us to assume a homemaker's work is mundane, outsourceable, unfulfilling work. Even if we choose it, even if we value it, we still underestimate homemaking. We wake up one day surprised to find that it's a lot of work. Turns out we're wholly unprepared for all that it demands of us. In America, you go to college so that you can get a better job. But homemaking is one of those jobs, like a barista or a retail clerk, not like a teacher or engineer, that anyone can learn by doing, no degree required. On the one hand, we believe homemaking is meaningful work, yet on the other hand, we don't think it takes any real training, education, or skill. Past societies didn't rely on colleges to train for occupations. They used apprenticeships and relational training. Children learned how to work from their parents. Tradesmen learned their craft from an experienced master. Knowledge and skills were passed along via relationships over time. But today's homemaker mom is generally alone with her small children, with no one there helping her to see the next thing that she ought to do. Who will help her sort out the details and make it all fit into a manageable whole? We couldn't blame our mothers, but our mothers likely didn't have mothers who taught them either. Homemakers might not be professionals, but we still need training, skills, growth, and encouragement in our valuable work. I grew up in a home with a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I'm the oldest of 7 children. I did know how to change diapers, how to direct toddlers, and how to cook a few meals for a crowd. I helped with chores. I knew what family life was like. I expected to be able to walk into my own role as mom, ready to nail it. Despite my early systems, despite my best laid plans and good intentions, I did not nail it. A couple of years ago, someone left a comment on a blog post that I wrote about teaching kids to do chores. Quote, "It doesn't take years to train kids how to do something any adult can learn in 5 minutes." Here is one problem we discover as homemakers. We have no idea what it even looks like to respect our own occupation because our culture doesn't respect it. In that blog comment, I recognized my own trouble as a young wife and mother. I had accepted the belief that homemaking was just a collection of menial tasks, the kind of thing that, yes, anyone could learn in 5 minutes. So why was I having such a hard time with it? Simply because homemaking is not something anyone can learn to do in 5 minutes. Our unseen disrespect for homemaking as a vocation affects even those of us who choose it. We see it when we hanker after titles like domestic engineer or chief operations officer. Such titles imply that homemaking is inferior and needs some beefing up for the resume. We see it when we discuss how much a mom would earn if she were paid for her various tasks. Such calculations defend homemaking while falling prey to the assumption that everything ought to have a monetary value attached to it. Before economies or politics can even exist, there must be people. People made in the image of God need no additional decoration to make them respectable. People made in the image of God do need homes and families, and that's exactly what we provide as wives and mothers. Our work is good, valuable work, no matter the time period, government structure, economic class, or culture that we are in. The work of homemaking is of utmost value to culture and society, whether or not the culture and society values it. Even if a woman does have another job, one that earns her money, her most significant contribution to her family and to the good of the nation and the world is her homemaking. Homes, after all, shape people. Those people, in turn, shape the culture, society, nation, and world into following generations. So let's not be surprised when that level of influence demands difficult, time-consuming work. When I was first trying to figure out the very best, most strategically clever homemaking methods, my goal was to earn the status of organized. And ever after, to have life flow smoothly and easily. I assumed organization was something that I would set up once, and then I'd be ready to rock and roll. Instead, I would set something up, half-heartedly work my system for a while, then I'd get bored and disregard my system, or some life shakeup, like a new baby or a move, would occur, and I'd be knocked back to square one. Or so it felt. If we're honest with ourselves, we keep trying to get organized because we feel that if only we could accomplish that, then the unexpected would never happen. We'd never be unhappy. We'd achieve perfection. However, organization cannot do that for us. It's a false hope for salvation or for perfection. If you're like I was in my 20s, this sounds like a discouragement from even trying to get organized, but it's really only a reality check. Even if organization is not the most amazing solution to all our problems, it is worth pursuing. When we organize our stuff and ourselves, we are imitating God. God made the world deliberately in an ordered, structured manner. He makes promises and He keeps them. He keeps track of all His purposes and all His people. He wants our corporate worship of Him to be done decently and in good order. As beloved children, we mimic our Father's providential care in our own derivative way. We get frustrated with organization when we unconsciously think we're achieving not reflective imitation, but rather precise godlike control. We are to be like Jesus by following after Him, loving what He loves, hating what He hates, and obeying all He says. We imitate. We don't compete. We're not to strive to be God in our own life. God Himself exercises providential control and care, and our care and attention only dimly reflect Him. Our plans do not work out as we expect, but God's plans always work out, and our plans are not His plans. Being organized isn't about being in control, always having your ideas for your home and life and family work out. Instead, being organized is being prepared and ready for whatever comes from God's fatherly hand. And that's it for this episode of the Simply Convivial podcast. This was the first half of the introduction to my upcoming book, Simplified Organization: Learn to Love What Must Be Done. You could get the first chapter for free by going to simplifiedorganization.com. But you have to do it by November 21st. That's the release date, and there won't be a wait list once the book is out. So get on the wait list by going to simplifiedorganization.com, get the free chapter, and be encouraged to learn to love what must be done.